Hello and welcome to Driving.ca. I'm Alex Reed and I am sitting in the 2021 Hyundai Elantra N Line so that we can go by the numbers and compare it to one of its biggest competitors, the Honda Civic Si. The Honda and the Hyundai both have turbocharged 4-cylinder engines. The Civic is making 205 horsepower at 5,700 RPM, while the Elantra is making 201 horsepower at 6,000 RPM. That's coming from only 1.5 liters in the Civic, where it's coming from 1.6 liters in the Elantra. Torque, you've got 192 pound-feet between 2,100 and 5,000 RPM for the Civic, while the Elantra is 195 pound-feet between 1,500 and 4,500 RPM, which is nice because this car has a dual-clutch transmission, which makes it a little bit better in the city. Torque is really what you use in the city, and it kind of helps get this dual-clutch transmission going. It's not a regular slush box, so it can be a little herky-jerky at times, but it's nice to have that little bit of extra torque, a little bit lower, just to make it more drivable in the city. The Honda has 20.3 psi of boost, which is quite a bit for a little engine, and I expect that's why it's making a little bit more horsepower than the Elantra. And now the Elantra has got to be making a lot less boost because it's got a bigger engine and it's making less horsepower than the Honda. So you're going to be given a little bit less boost to get a little bit less out of more of an engine. The red line for both of these vehicles is 6,500 RPM. And the compression ratio is 10.3 to 1 for the Civic and 10 to 1 for the Elantra. They're both 16-valve dual overhead cam engines, and both of them are available with a 6-speed transmission, which is pretty cool. This one that I'm sitting in is actually a 7-speed dual clutch, as I mentioned, which is honestly amazing for such a regular person commuter car. It doesn't seem like having something sophisticated like a dual clutch transmission would be, you know, even possible, but here it is, and it's pretty cool. It shifts fast. One thing that I did notice about it too is that even though it's 7 speeds, when I'm traveling at about 110 kilometers an hour on the highway, it's turning 2,500 RPM, which is kind of unheard of for a newer car to have that many RPMs in top gear while not going super fast, really, you know, just keeping up with traffic. But that aids in acceleration. That means that you've got a really, really low gear ratio in the differential. So you're going to get better acceleration. Speaking of the differential, the Honda Civic Si does have a helical limited slip differential, which means that you're going to be able to power out of corners just that little bit better than the Hyundai. This doesn't have a diff. It's an open diff, but the electronics step in to kind of help you go through the corners, and you do feel it. It doesn't understeer too bad for a front-wheel drive car, but you can definitely feel that it doesn't have a diff, but the electronics are kind of keeping up, which is really interesting. They've both got independent multi-link rear suspensions, which is pretty cool for a sedan, a regular commuter car, and the Hyundai is a little bit heavier than the Honda. The Honda, you're looking at 1,341 kilograms, which is 2,956 pounds, whereas the Hyundai Elantra is 1,370 kilograms, that's 3,020 pounds. So it's just a little bit heavier, but it's also newer, and that's where it's going to come to the price. Is the specs we've been looking at are for the 2020 Honda Civic Si, because Honda actually didn't make an Si for the 2021 model year. They're going to be coming out with another one for 2022. So when I found these specs, the Civic Si was $30,290, and that's for last year's model, whereas this, a 2021 brand new car, is only going to set you back $27,799. So that's a savings of almost $3,000, and it's a newer car with newer tech, which is something that a lot of people are going to want in a car like this. But the only thing that kind of poses a problem for then is the Honda definitely has a little bit of an edge just over performance with the extra diff, with things like a little bit more horsepower. It also gets slightly worse economy, the Honda. That's the only drawback, but you're gonna drive both of these like a hooligan anyways, so it doesn't really matter. The Honda, you're looking at 8.9 in the city, 6.4 on the highway, and 7.8 combined liters per 100 kilometer, whereas the Elantra is 8.4 city, 6.6 highway, and 7.6 combined. So the Hyundai is just a little bit better in the economy field, and it's cheaper, and it's got newer tech. But that begs the question, which one would you rather buy? Because you could conceivably get a used Civic Si, and it's got more horsepower, and it's got the name. The Honda name, it really means something these days. Not that Hyundai doesn't. Hyundai is really stepping up their products with adding the N Line badge to everything in their lineup. They're going to be putting it on everything, and this is the latest one to get it, actually. So it's just a question of, do you want to have a used vehicle that maybe performs a little bit better but isn't something brand new right off the lot with a warranty maybe? Or you could get this and have very similar performance, a newer vehicle, and something that's really going to be up and coming in the next few years, I think. I think Hyundai and Kia and Genesis, as we've seen, are really stepping their game up. Everything I've noticed in this vehicle is quality, and it was really a joy to drive, to be honest. So it's going to be a tough choice, but luckily it's a choice that I don't have to make. It's a choice that you're going to have to make if you want to buy one. So for Driving.ca, I'm Alex Reed. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more videos.